Hello, students. As you know, yesterday I started with the poem Christabel by Coleridge. I have explained you 6 to 8 stanzas of this long poem. Just for remembrance, this poem is a narrative ballad. Coleridge here in this poem is narrating a story in verse form. And the poem starts with some bad omens such as owl hooting, cock crowing, and a female dog howling with the striking of the clock. Then we are introduced to the heroine Christabel, who is out in the woods at midnight to pray for her knight's safety, with whom she is engaged. And while she was praying under the oak tree, she gets startled by a moaning sound coming from the other side of the tree. Curious and scared, she decides to look on the other side of the tree. Now today, let us continue with the poem and find out what does she encounter on the other side of the tree. There she sees a damsel bright, dressed in a silken robe of white. So when Christabel looks on the other side of the oak tree, there she sees a damsel bright. Damsel means a young woman. She sees a young woman dressed in silken robe of white, and the woman was dressed in white clothes. Robe is a long loose outer garment, and she was wearing a robe that shadowy in the moonlight shone, the neck that made that white robe wane. Though the robe she was wearing was so bright, it looks like it was shining in the moonlight. The neck that made that white robe wane. The neck of the lady was even brighter, and it made her robe look pale in comparison to her neck. Her stately neck and arms were bare, her blue-veined feet unsandaled were. The lady's neck was beautiful and slender in shape. Her arms were bare. Bare means uncovered. Her feet were unsandaled. She was barefooted. And wildly glittered here and there the gems entangled in her hair. The gems, her hair may mean the hair jewelry tied onto her hair, and those gems were shining all here and there means all over her head. She was wearing beautiful hair jewelry. I guess 'twas frightful there to see a lady so richly clad as she beautiful exceedingly. I guess this is the voice of narrator here, and he finds it frightful. Frightful means it's scary to find a lady of such beautiful exceedingly, of such extreme beauty and so richly clad. Richly clad means the lady was dressed so good, and he finds it weird and unnatural to see such a lady in the middle of the night at forest. Mary Mother, save me now, said Christabel, and who art thou? And Christabel here is praying for her safety to Mary Mother, Mother Mary, and questions, who art thou? She is questioning the lady about her identity and asking, who are you? The lady strange made answer meet, and her voice was faint and sweet. The lady answers to the question in a voice that was faint and sweet, a voice that was sweet and low. Have pity on my sore distress. She starts speaking, the strange lady, and says, have pity on my sore distress. Have pity, have mercy on my miserable condition. I scarce can speak for weariness. Scarce means hardly. She is not in the condition to speak because of weariness, because she is too much tired to say anything. Stretch forth thy hand and have no fear. She asks her to help her, and she is asking for the hand of Christabel to up from the ground. She wants to stand up and have no fear, and also tells Christabel not to be afraid. And the lady said, Christabel, how camest thou here? But before Christabel decides to help her up, she asks another question. How camest thou here? She wants to know how the lady got there. And the lady, whose voice was faint and sweet, did thus pursue her answer meet. And it is very natural of Christabel to ask her so, how did she get there? And the lady, once again, Coleridge points out that the lady's voice is soft and sweet, and did thus pursue her answer meet, and she starts to answer Christabel's questions. My sire is of a noble line, and my name is Geraldine. It is actually pronounced as Geraldine, but for the rhythm's sake, it is pronounced here as Geraldine. So the strange lady says, my sire, my father. Sire means my father is a man of noble lineage. She belongs to a noble family, and my name is Geraldine. And finally, the name of the lady is Geraldine. 5 warriors seized me yestermorn. Me, even me, a maid forlorn, they choked my cries with force and fright, and tied me on a palfrey white. And she starts telling a story. 5 warriors seized me yestermorn. That how she starts telling how did she happen to be in the forest. So what happened? 5 men captured her or kidnapped her yestermorn. Yestermorn means previous morning. Me, even me, a maid forlorn. They found her alone. They choked my cries with force and fright. They found her alone in the forest, and the 5 men captured her, and they choked my cries with force and fright and tied me on a palfrey white. So they tied her to one of the horses. Palfrey is a horse with a saddle for a woman. So they tied her to one of the horses and rode behind her. The palfrey was as fleet as wind, and they rode furiously behind. So they tied her and they continued to rode behind her. They spurred a man, their steeds were white, and once we crossed the shade of night. As sure as heaven shall rescue me, I have no thought what man they be. They were riding with great speed. Spurred a man means they were riding with great speed on white horses. And once we crossed the shade of night, as sure as heaven shall rescue me, I have no thought what man they be. And she says, God help her, and she has no idea who were those men, and nor do I know how long it is, for I have lain entranced I was, and she has no idea, and she doesn't know how long they rode, because she was entranced. Entranced means she was almost fainted on the horseback. Since one, the tallest of the 5, took me from the palfrey's back. Since one, and one of the 5 men untied her from the horse, a weary woman, scarce alive, and she was so tired and hardly alive. Some muttered words his comrade spoke. He placed me underneath this oak. And his kidnappers had some talk to each other, and then they left her under this oak tree. He swore they would return with haste. Whither they went, I cannot tell. Whither they went, I cannot tell. I thought I heard, some minutes passed, sounds as of a castle bell. And his kidnappers, they left her this oak tree, but not before threatening her that they would return. So he swore they would return with haste. Whither they went, I cannot tell. I thought I heard, some minutes passed, sounds of a castle bell. Stretch forth thy hand. Thus ended she, and help a wretched maid to flee. Geraldine says, some minutes before she heard sounds of castle bell, that is the castle bell of Christabel's house, and stretch forth thy hand. She asks Christabel's hand for help to escape from there and help a wretched maid to flee. She is asking for Christabel's help, and thus she ends her story. Now, this whole story of kidnapping and then leaving her for no reason is hard to believe. Why would a group of men kidnap her and then just leave her beneath a tree, telling her that they will be back? In fact, the whole situation is quite unusual and suspicious. Then Christabel stretched forth her hand and comforted fair Geraldine. After listening to Geraldine, Christabel gives her hand to help her and sympathizes with her. Oh well, bright dame, may you command the service of Sir Leoline, and gladly our stout chivalry will he send forth, and friends withal, to guide and guard you safe and free home to your noble father's hall. Oh well, she starts talking about her father, Sir Leoline, and assures that the service of Sir Leoline and gladly our stout chivalry. Stout chivalry means brave man, and her father. She assures her that her father is a brave man, chivalrous and brave man, and he would provide safety to her. Will he send forth and friends withal? He will arrange his men to get her back home to your noble father's hall. He will get her back home to her father's house, safe and sound. She rose, and forth with steps they passed that strove to be and were not fast. And Geraldine stands up and starts walking slowly with Christabel, as Christabel finds nothing wrong with Geraldine and decides to help her. And they starts walking together. Her gracious stars the lady bless, and thus spake on sweet Christabel. Christabel starts speaking and says, all our household are at rest, the whole as silent as the cell. Sir Leoline is weak in health, and may not well awaken we, but we will move as if in stealth, and I beseech your courtesy this night to share your couch with me. Christabel says, at all our household are at rest. At home, everybody is sleeping, and the whole is silent as the cell, and it is silent like a cell. Sir Leoline is weak in health. Christabel says her father, Sir Leoline, is not well and may not well awaken be, and it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be a good idea to wake him up, but we will move as if in stealth. So she asks Geraldine to walk silently without making any noise. In stealth mean without making any noise or sound. And I beseech your courtesy this night to share your couch with me. And she requests Geraldine to sleep with her this night. They crossed the moat, and Christabel took the key that fitted well. So, together, they passing the castle, they're heading towards the castle, and there is a moat. Moat is a deep ditch around the castle, especially made for security purposes. So together they crossed the moat, and Christabel took the key that fitted well. A little door she opened straight. Christabel unlocks the door of the castle. All in the middle of the gate that was ironed within and without, where an army in battle array had marched out. And just when the two ladies are about to cross the gate, a gate that was iron within and without, a gate that is made of iron, where an army in battle array had marched out, and this gate was large and wide enough to let several men on horseback at one time. So, what happened? The ladies sank, belied through pain, and Christabel, with might and main, lifted her up a weary weight over the threshold of the gate. And what happens? Geraldine suddenly sinks down to the ground, and she acts as if she was in pain. And Christabel, with might and main, lifted her up a weary weight. And seeing her in pain, Christabel, with all her might and main, with all her power, helps her and lifted her up a weary weight over the threshold of the gate. She helps her across and she carries her across the other side of the gate. Then the lady rose again and moved as she were not in pain. And Geraldine stands up again and starts walking as if she was not in pain. She was able to walk along normally as if nothing happened. Now, this behavior of Geraldine confirms that there is something wrong about this woman. Right from this stanza, when she first made her appearance in the poem, Coleridge is giving subtle hints about her mystery. She is found by Christabel under the oak tree at an odd hour of midnight. Then her story of being kidnapped and then abandoned in the forest for no apparent reason. So, one more thing to note, that in the poem there is a strong indication that this woman might be a vampire. For example, her pale skin, her beauty, and then her inability to cross the iron gate, as the legends and stories about these creatures suggest that they cannot touch and cross the things made of iron. So all these things compel us to speculate that either she is a vampire or some sort of supernatural being. But Coleridge nowhere will confirm these speculations, and that's what makes this poem even more interesting and captivating. That's all for today's session. I'll continue with the rest of the poem in the next class. Thank you.